Welcome to one of our Ruden Report Zoomcasts. I'm joined here by four ladies who I was hoping we would be talking about an exciting victory today, but unfortunately in the world we live in and COVID and the pandemic, the discussion is going to be a little bit different. So first of all, joining me right now are four captains from the New Canaan field hockey team, and you can each wave when I say your name. We've got Megan Lydon, we've got Sophie Havens, we've got Vivian Reeves, and we've got Caroline Brooks. The Rams were scheduled to play Stanford in the Central Region semifinals today, and unfortunately there was some sort of a COVID breakout at the school, and the girls learned, I guess on Saturday, we learned yesterday that you were going to have to go into quarantine and unfortunately withdraw from the tournament. Why don't you guys take me from the beginning when you first heard what was going on and what the cause of it was?
So obviously one of the players on our team, she found out that she had close contact, with somebody who had coronavirus. And so she got tested. She was in quarantine. So since we were contacts of contacts, we didn't have to quarantine yet. But then she got tested and she found out that she had coronavirus on Saturday morning. And then we got the text that we had to quarantine as well.
Yeah. And obviously because we're all practicing with each other and on the bus together and playing with each other, we were very close contacts with this member of our team.
First of all, most important, how's she doing? Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she's good.
Okay, that's obviously the most important thing. When you guys got the text, what were your initial reaction?
We were definitely all initially, bummed out, definitely disappointed because we knew that was going to be the end of our season. And sorry.
It's okay.
And with that, I think, we also all immediately started texting each other. Everyone was sort of expressing, disappointment, but also a lot of gratitude, because while it was, a sad ending, it was definitely, we knew that this could be a possibility at any given point. And so we had played the entirety of our season with that mentality. And, I think we played every game as if it could have been our last. And given that, I think, we didn't have any regrets.
Yeah, I'm just going to, guess, and you can talk a little bit more. Obviously it's disappointing, but I got to think it's a different kind of disappointment because of the circumstances. I'm sure this has been hanging over your heads all year, and I'm sure your initial reaction is more about your teammate than it is about not getting to finish your season.
Oh yeah, certainly. And the fact that we were even able to get one full game in was already an accomplishment in our books. We didn't even expect any sort of season, especially during the summer. We had no idea. So we're all very, very grateful that we were able to get 10 games in, and the fact that our teammate is okay and she's safe. So we definitely are more grateful for that than the disappointment on the other side.
Yeah, I remember thinking on October 1st when we had our first game with Darien, I was like, wow, I didn't even know we would get this far. But now it's mid-November and we had a good run. So.
And unfortunately, this is happening everywhere. I mean, Darien has sort of been affected by this too, because I guess from when you played them, their starters have had to go into quarantine, and all their games got postponed. Hopefully they'll get played tomorrow. And I mean, this unfortunately is happening everywhere. I know the FCIAC is trying to get through the season, which is to end on Thursday. How hard is it not to get the chance to play for a championship? The one thing I'm surprised about, and I'm going to write about this, I thought championships weren't going to be that important this year because it's not an FCIAC and it's not a state. And I'm almost finding it's like the opposite, because there's been so little to be happy about that, you know, winning the title seems to, you know, have taken on added significance. So how disappointing is it after being the 1 seed and winning the regular season title, you don't get a chance to finish things off?
Well, I was super excited, like, to even have, like we were just saying, to have the chance to have the season in general. I wasn't even expecting to have, like, the opportunity to play playoffs. And of course, like, it would have been great, but, like, with the season we had, I feel like it was, like, it ended happily. Like, if we had lost against Darien or Greenwich, I would have been like, oh, like, I needed the playoffs to be, like, to reprove ourselves. But since we did so well, and since, like, we kind of played really well together and just overall did well, like I've said like 5 times, but I didn't really need it. Of course I was disappointed, but I didn't need it.
Yeah, I think our last week as a team together was definitely a strong week. I mean, with those 2 victories, those are obviously great teams, big games, and so there was just so much excitement the entirety of the week. And, you know, even Friday's practice, it was really fun. We, our coach, you know, had sort of like this fun tournament game that we played during our practice where we were split into teams, and you know, there was like a prize of cookies at the end. So definitely, you know, we were excited to go into this next week, but I think that excitement also made our last week super fun and super memorable too.
Bittersweet ending, definitely.
All right, let's put all the bad stuff aside now and let's talk good, because certainly when we look on the 2020 New Canaan field hockey team, it's going to be remembered for real good. I mean, number one, you're in a tough region with your biggest rival, Darien, and also with Greenwich, which is always strong. I'm sure you're going to remember, number one, that you played Darien 3 times and you got to beat them twice, including last week. So what about that point in part of the season? First, just your rivalry with Darien and being able to beat them 2 or 3 times.
Well, I mean, last year we got our first win against them in a very long time, which was definitely exciting. And all 4 of us were on that team last year. And so we were kind of riding off that high already. And Darien is a very good team. And so it wasn't just a fluke. We played well in that game, and we kind of just took that into the season. And I think also, in addition, MC just started last year, and she has just brought such a good energy to our team that I think has also helped with that and kind of unleashed our potential.
And our first win against Darien this year was also our first game of the season. So just starting off on such a high note, I think really carried us through the rest of the fall. And, you know, losing to them the second time was definitely tough, but I'm really happy that, you know, we got yet another chance to bounce back and ultimately be 2-1 against them.
And that first game, the opening game, that was the overtime game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ferraro goal.
Yeah.
Did that, I mean, I'm sure you guys had high hopes coming into the season, winning that first game against your rival dramatically. Did that give you guys an indication of just how good you can be?
Definitely. Well, I was saying, especially after our third game too, because we did score at the end. I'm a goalie, and I was like, you guys have to stop doing that. It's very stressful for me, but it makes that win kind of all that nicer. So.
What are some of the other high points of the season? You know, Greenwich is always a very strong program. I mean, you tied them once, so obviously they're a good team too. What about the rivalry with them?
I think it was sort of fun because when we tied Greenwich, we actually ultimately, along with the Greenwich team, decided to do sort of, you know, take stroke shots for fun, just to, you know, sort of have an unofficial winner, which we actually won that, so that was exciting. But, you know, Greenwich is another great team to play, and I think whenever we play strong teams like that, I think our teamwork really comes through. It's when, you know, we really are able to sort of rise to the occasion. And I think when we play our hardest teams is often when we play our best. And it's also when on the sidelines you get the most excited, and the cheering is always great. And I think that's just been a really great part of this team for me, just in the whole program. For the whole time I played field hockey, it's a really supportive group of kids, and that's just always one of my favorite parts about being part of it.
Also,
I think also we can accredit all of that motivation going off the second Darien game. We can accredit a lot of that motivation and to MC and her incredible skill at like uplifting the team, and also the sidelines are always fun and very motivating when we're in. So yeah.
Also with just us playing Greenwich in general, it's a very it's always good hockey. Like we always play very we play with the rules, and we don't get overly aggressive like we tend to do when we play Darien, because I feel like it's just a rivalry. We always bash heads, but when we play Greenwich, it's a very overall good game. We always have really nice passing. We don't really play dirty. Not that we play dirty, but it's always more clean. And it's just nicer to play and be on the field when we play them.
This, maybe you guys have a different perspective on this now than others. Thinking about how much was this whole pandemic and knowing, or were you cognizant? Do you think a lot this can end at any time, or after a while, is that just kind of blocked out of your mind?
I think
before every single one of our games, pretty much, MC would always say, play this like it's your last game. And even if this pandemic didn't exist, you would still tell yourself that. But this was the first year where that truly was the case. And I think we were so close to the end, though. So there was definitely a hope that it was okay. And unfortunately, it wasn't. But definitely throughout the whole season, even every practice, we practiced like it was our last time together. And on Friday, it definitely was a good practice, and we did practice like it was our last time together. So,
and I think, the uncertainty throughout this whole season has definitely been sort of hard to deal with, just not really knowing, what the next day is going to look like. But you also touched on this already, everybody's sort of experiencing this right now. It's a universal thing. And I think at the beginning, I was a lot more worried than I ultimately was when we started. I was kind of bummed out going into the season, thinking that the pandemic was really going to affect not only the actual practices and games, but also just, how close I got with my teammates. But, ultimately, I think we adapted very well. And with that, we still were able to play amazingly together. And the team still grew incredibly close.
I honestly think we had the closest bond we've ever had this year. The team this year was just such a family. It was really nice.
I'm guessing it'd also be an escape. I covered before we did this. I covered the Ridgefield field hockey team won its regional title. I beat Staples for the first time 2-1, and I was interviewing the Ridgefield coach after. And she's talking about how special it was, especially because the best part of the day was the 2 hours when the team was together. You're a family within a family, so to speak. And it's 2 hours where you can forget what's going on in the world. I'm guessing what she said is probably true of every sports team, including the New Canaan field hockey team.
Yeah, I think back in spring when we first went into quarantine, that was definitely one of the biggest loss for many high schoolers, was not having sports after school, because that's a big part of a lot of kids' lives, and just sort of also lacking that time of freedom in their daily routine. And having that back in the fall definitely just made it feel more normal, and sort of, especially with school being a little off too. And yeah, there were some changes that in our practices and games, but it still felt how it would any other year. And I think just having that was really nice.
So what's your situation right now? How long do you have to be in quarantine for?
We're out until the 18th.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2 full weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what's quarantine like. Obviously, you're doing remote school. Do you basically have to be isolated from the rest of your families as well?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
banished
we're all.
in my room currently.
Yeah.
What do you do to keep yourselves smiling when you're not doing school stuff?
Honestly, we've been talking a lot with our teammates. Like
Yeah.
we did group Zoom. We text all the
All the
time.
time. Because all
Yeah.
25 of us are in the exact same position. So
Mhm.
it's kind of great to confide in another group of people.
Exactly. We're all quarantined together, so we're sort of all, bonding over that right now. And in our group chats and stuff, we're sending videos of what we're doing, sort of, joking around, making the most of it.
It's got to be strange. Are you like using your cell phones to call the rest of your family members, or the food gets left outside your doors like you're in a hotel or
The
something?
room service is pretty nice.
Earlier.
The room service is good there. Which one of you has the best accommodations there? If anybody needs a B&B once we get healthy again, you.
Me.
So
My brother, such a good cook.
really,
Yeah.
what are the best dishes? What do you recommend?
It's really hard. He makes good sushi. Like
Okay, I'm in. Good sushi and I'm in.
I've also seen Megan's parents give her very nice, elaborate avocado toast with egg on it. So that looks really good.
I like having my breakfasts. That's my favorite meal of the day. And my mom knows what I like. No, yeah.
I'm too, but I'm not an avocado fan, unfortunately. Everybody but me seems to love avocado. So
It's
it sounds like you guys are, I'm happy you're smiling and making the best of it, because I guess if you don't laugh, you cry, and you gotta look. I think if you guys, I got something that you guys really, if you want to endeavor, there are video games. I'm betting none of you are video game players. You guys you and Darien got to kind of get together and devise a field hockey video game and have like a best of 3 series or something that gets done before quarantine.
That could get heated.
that would get very.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, good idea.
Ruden Report might even consider coverage of that if we could get a good. We're gonna have to Google field hockey video games, and I think you guys should try to form a competition with Darien or something.
Yeah.
We'd have to have some sort of quarantine contest. Who's best at doing something? Well, guys, you're really good sports, especially to come on here and talk to me about it. I'm most sorry that you're in quarantine. I'm most sorry. Whoever your teammate is, send her my best, and I hope she's healthy, because that's what matters most, as well as you guys. And we will remember the 2020 New Canaan field hockey team as the Central Region regular season champions. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Sophie, Megan, Vivian, Caroline, thanks a lot for taking the time here, and best of luck surviving quarantine and life thereafter. You guys all stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's our Ruden Report Zoomcast, and I'm sure we'll be back with another one real soon.